Wow. So we were just talking about this guy yesterday. Trump was essentially trying to add Nazis to his administration. This guy even called himself, he's like, I got a Nazi streak. He really said that. He had a bunch of racist texts. Turns out he's going to withdraw his nomination. These are the people that Trump are trying to bring in. It says Trump administration live updates, nominee to lead corruption fighting agency withdraws. So this has been canceled because a lot of Republicans are just like, you know what, I just don't want any part of this, which is very interesting as the Trump administration tries to get a lot of these types of people. Now, they're also pushing out people today, as we'll talk about. Trump dismisses another inspector general, fueling oversight concerns. So this is Trump's plan. Push out people with experience, push out people who are qualified, push out people who will investigate Trump, who will oversee, right? Who will be the whistleblowers, who will make sure that people are following the Constitution. He tries to push these people out, and then you try to bring in these dudes, right? Trump's special counsel nominee withdraws from confirmation hearing. Wow. Name was Paul Ingrassia, withdrew from his upcoming hearing after a number of GOP senators said they would not back him following reports about his racist texts. And I just made a video about this. I didn't think it would break down this quick because, I mean, you just know how this game is played. Trump hires a lot of these kind of people. It's not that shocking. But what's actually the news, though, is that Republicans are pushing back. So let's read it again. Paul Ingrassia, President Donald Trump's nominee to lead the Office of Special Counsel. And Trump's been trying to get all these basically unqualified people in these kind of quick ways. He actually withdrew his BLS nomination. That was before, you guys remember, Trump fired the head when he didn't like the job numbers. But here, this another person, right? Special counsel said he's withdrawing from his confirmation hearing this week because he does not have the votes to be confirmed. So it's just not going to happen. Following the reports, he texted other Republicans, so a lot of people know about this, racist slurs, and said he had a, quote, Nazi streak. These are the people that Trump wants to hire. At least 5 Senate Republicans said they opposed Ingrassia's nomination, enough to block his confirmation if all senators are voting, and no Democrat support, which I don't think anyone's will. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, so that's Republican from South Dakota, told reporters Monday that Ingrassia could not be confirmed and that he hoped the White House would withdraw the nomination. Wow. So this is actually another failure from Trump. This is what's going on. And this is actually also an interesting part of the larger story because Trump was talking about how he's going to, solve the Russia-Ukraine situation like in a day because Trump, always boasts all this awesome stuff he can do. Then that didn't come through. And then recently he's been talking about meeting Putin, but then that seems to be called off. This is a lot of what Trump is doing. Like he'll say something and it gets called off. And this is actually after we just went over it, where Karen Levitt was asked about the Putin meeting and Karen Levitt's response was, your mom. That was actually her response. We made a video about it. I know it sounds stupid, but the whole Trump administration, this is the people who he fills administration with, right? And unqualified people, in this person's own words, right? They call themselves mustache party people. What does it say here? Russia reiterated previous Ukraine peace terms to U.S. in private communications. So Putin keeps trying to say, Trump, you got to follow me. Then Trump says, he says he doesn't want wasted meeting with Putin, delaying summit. That's interesting. And I'm curious where this is going to go next because Trump has been signaling on and off whether or not he's going to talk to President Xi. Is he going to talk to North Korea, right? Kim Jong-un? Who knows? I mean, Trump, his stuff changes from day to day, but I do want to show you what's going on because you have to take this in a larger perspective. Trump is facing a lot of pressure at home as basically he's dismantling the economy. I mean, you see it. This is today from the Wall Street Journal. Cable giant Charter lays off 1,200 workers, cuts in corporate and back office roles, right? That's more than 1% of the workforce. And I'll just be frank with you guys. I think these types of layoffs from these big companies may get worse because just think about this, how it all plays out. Trump, as we talked about in the prior video, he was bragging about his Russ Vote dude. He called him Darth Vader. He really did. I know it sounds so ridiculous, but that's what we're talking about. And essentially what they're trying to do is try to cut as many jobs as they can. And it has ripple effects, right? If one person in your neighborhood loses their job, that takes out money from your community, right? Which affects other people. So like you're not going to go to a store, you're not going to go to a restaurant. And then that slows down. So then they're like, okay, we just don't have the customers that we once did. So may lay off a person. And that, again, takes out money and economic activity from your community, trying to put it in just most basic terms. And then you'll see something like this in the more national sense, which essentially this reflects North America. It says, Mattel misses Wall Street estimates as North American sales sink. Remember when Donald Trump was saying, oh, you don't need choices of dolls. You can have 2 or 3 dolls, right? Well, maybe it's going to be 0 dolls this Christmas. This is the toy company saying sales are down. Mattel missed earnings and revenue expectations for the third quarter. So, Trump's economy is failing. He's trying to hire racists. I'll just be frank with you guys, and unqualified people. And this is the kind of stuff that happens. And it shows up everywhere. And that's why I try to go through all the details of this stuff. It's not just one thing. You have to look at a collection of it, and we're all connected. So for example, let's read what's going on. During the third quarter, sales in North America fell 12%. And again, this is the toy company, okay? With the largest year-over-year decline in the company's infant, toddler, and preschool category, okay? So young people, I'll just particular infant, toddler, and preschool category, right? International sales, meanwhile, climbed 3%. So that's interesting. North America, this is just in terms of toy sales here, declined 12%. International sales up 3%. Overall sales for 2 of Mattel's largest toy brands saw declining sales. Global Barbie sales fell 70% from same quarter a year earlier, and Fisher-Price sales dropped 19%. Ouch. The company's global Hot Wheels sales ticked up 8%. So I'll let you guys be the judge of that, but I think this sort of shows different, product categories, which markets are buying what. And then you also have this is actually kind of an interesting one. Moving forward, Mattel has focused on expanding its entertainment offerings and employing new technology. On Tuesday, Mattel and Hasbro partnered with Netflix to capitalize on the success of the movie K-pop Demon Hunters to offer dolls and consumer products tied to the film. And this represents, in my mind, I think it's obvious, you're seeing a shift in economic power to other parts of the world. In this particular situation, it's Korea. It's where I live. I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters has been a massive hit. And that's actually a joint. You're using talents from both countries, from the U.S. and from Korea. And also shows that you want to build partnerships if you want success in this world, because the world is more globalized. If you go with the Trumper point of view and we're just going to hire racists, we're going to push out experienced people, and from Trump's point of view, we're only going to hire certain, select people from a certain part of the country that look a certain sort of way. I'm sure you guys know. I'll let you guys figure it out. It's not hard to figure out who he's hiring. But it's fascinating, though, that you are seeing some pushback, because I think the overriding lesson with this kind of stuff is ignorance is expensive, racism is expensive, and you stick with the Trump policy and the Trump culture, you're basically going to burn everything down, which is opposite what we should be doing. And then you get this, and this has been in the markets a lot. Are we in an AI bubble? Here's what analysts and experts are saying. And I'll just tell you, yes, we are. It has been showing up everywhere. And the big question has then been this circular financing situation, to where, one company invests in another company, and then that second company then buys products from the first company, and then they pump up each other with borrowed money, and you could argue borrowed praise, and this whole thing is a big circle, and then the network kind of gets bigger and bigger and is connected, and then Trump, being part of the grift, right? And this goes back to understanding this whole system, is like, okay, let's get rid of any sort of regulation, any sort of watchdog, here is example, inspector generals, right? Let's get rid of the people who are watching corruption, and let's try to bring in, Trumpy people like this. And so at the moment, because Trump's running out of, anyone who wants to be associated with him, because I'll tell you guys the truth, years from now, or even next year, it could be, quite soon, anyone who was working with Trump during this period right now that we're in, was destroying the White House and destroying the economy and breaking up relationships, Trump's name is going to be a stain on you forever. And, in my opinion, as we see kind of how this stuff plays out, Trump looks like he's laying plans to retire in Argentina or something. And if you don't have your retirement plans in place, right? Well, one is don't be associated with Trump, but I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to face the consequences of your actions, right? We can literally see it in public. We're documenting this stuff every day. So this guy, though, evidently, again, his nomination's withdrawn. Republicans are turning against Trump, and you're just seeing this pattern, over and over again. So I'd like to keep you guys informed. Please be careful out there. Please share your thoughts also. And I'll catch you all in the next video.